Night Owls with Alan Robson.
You never know who's going to call next.
Greatest Hits Radio.
Now, it's appropriate with Tom Jones getting his one of his big birthdays. I think he's 80-odd, or 80 maybe. We've been looking at songs for senior citizens. Instead of Moonraker, no, that was Shirley Bassey. I think it was Shirley Bassey. Instead of Moonraker, Pacemaker. And also from The Police, Every Breath You Wheeze. Okay, we could do that. But lots of these have been coming in too about your mug. What's on your mug? Barry Hogan says, this is the highlight of a crappy week. Cheers, Barry. Thank you for that. Derek Jardine getting set for the best night of the week. He says, Peter Watt, he's had a whole batch of mugs. He's got a big soup mug. Yeah, tomato soup, where you dunk. Very good. Star Wars mug, Family Guy mug, a big latte mug from Newcastle United. And he says his all-time favourite mug. Do you remember these? It was a Tetley tea mug. I remember them. And there was a little switch on the bottom. And it would go, when you drank it, it would go, Tetley's. Diddly. Brilliant. I remember that. Alex Dodds has Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. There's an album. He had a mug from that. Anthony Tuck has me, a mug on his mug. And Stoner Craig, he says, do you believe in Reiki or Menk Thai? I'm not even sure what Menk Thai is. I had a meal from a Thai restaurant which was a manky Thai, but Menk Thai, I'm not sure. If anybody knows what it is, come on, tell me about it. Ray Madison, True Grit, who drives a gritter, he's with us tonight. Brandon Wedgwood just wants to say hi to Liam. And Shannon Fettis says all of the concert crew are listening in. Nothing like a mountain woman. There you go. Good stuff. So thanks for all of that. This was interesting. Tony says, if there isn't a second wave of the virus in 14 days, after all these stupid protesters have been shoulder to shoulder, there never will be. Why not open all of the bars and restaurants and we can all protest in them and boost the economy at the same time? That's what he says. What do you says? That's the thing. Anyway, we are kicking off with Gavin. I have a multitude of mice here, of mousies. And I just tried to get him with the wrong one, but he should be there. Hi, Gavin.
Who's out there in the dark?
Good to hear from you, Gav. What you got for me tonight, mate?
So I was watching the news at 10 before, and I just decided to ring in because it was quite briefly live on Sky News.
Right.
So they give everyone in London, around the city centre and anyway, a dispersal at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Mm-hmm. So obviously nobody's got any reason on a Sunday night to be wandering about apart from deputies, ambulances, etc., etc.
Sure.
So, and what happened on Saturday, we were sitting at work watching Sky News, and I'm looking at people in Parliament Square and then obviously Times Square, Newcastle, and all over the country. And you've just mentioned there before, if this is what people are doing, just open the bars in the restaurants. You may as well, because, you know, people are talking about a second wave, which is inevitably going to happen, not just in this country, but, you know, around here, around the world, basically. It's going to happen. And my concern is you're going to have our winter flu, which obviously happens every year, with coronavirus. And them two together is going to be a death bug, basically. You know, like the nice weeks of weather we're having, people going to the beach and stuff like that. There's ignorance everywhere. But the bottom line, I think, as well, people are psychologically getting fed up. They just go, you know, you can't keep people indoors and off work and stuff like that. But at the same time, yes, because this pandemic we've got, it's not the worst that we've ever had. The Spanish flu was bigger. You know, you've had a lot of things bigger than this.
Sure. Yeah, but we've had a lot of things bigger than this that we didn't lock down for. The fact that we've locked down just seems to be spreading it out over a longer period rather than letting the thing come in, whatever it is. It does what it's going to do, like everyone has previously, and then it burns itself out, and then you get on with whatever the next one that comes in. Are we going to stop for each one now is the question.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, you know, if you go back in history about epidemics and pandemics as well, this has apparently been the worst one. But, I mean, I'm only 31. Has it been? Is this the worst one we've seen? I don't know. Has it been the worst one because it's new?
I think it's probably appeared I mean, for numbers of lives, more people died last year. That's just the fact. That's how it was. We got a nasty batch of flu, various flus, and it killed off the viruses and pandemics and illnesses. It's kind of like how nature shortens the population. Anybody that's vulnerable, anybody that's ill, anybody that's elderly, it skims that surface. It's sad, but it's true. And I don't wish anybody any harm, of course, but that's normal. But the question now is, now that we've stopped for this one, and people can judge rightly or wrongly whether it was a good thing or a bad thing. Some countries say it was. Some scientists say it was. Some countries and scientists say it wasn't. It depends on what you personally believe. But do we stop for the next one? If something else which isn't COVID, let's say it's COVID-20, and it comes up at Christmas, and it dies down, we have a nice little summer, autumn period, and then, oops, hang on, people are now... Do you close down again? And do you keep closing down every time there is one? Because throughout history, nobody's ever done that.
Yeah, it's true.
I haven't got an answer. It's just a question. And if you stop for one, surely you have to stop for them all because you're there to save lives. But as Boris has said, if you go back to work and you're within a metre of one another, you can save 1 million jobs. And they've realised that 70 to 80% of the people who have caught it and suffered have been very old with health issues. So what they're not saying is, if you're not in that group, you should be getting on with your life and not be tied down in any kind of form. They're not saying that, and I don't know why they're not saying that. I mean, it may well be that they're being super cautious, and you can't argue with people trying to save your life, for heaven's sake. And we've got to do what we're told in any case. It just asks a few questions. I mean, do you think we should just be back all together now? Just get cracking? Or what do you think?
Just in my opinion, obviously, just don't open the whole place up at once. But yes, bit by bit. Start opening shops a little bit, with obviously precautions, restaurants. Let's get back there. That's going to sound daft. Let's open some bars with social distance precautions, which there was a bar in Manchester I used to frequent a lot, and they're saying now that the council is going to give them funding to build like an outside patio.
All right.
Clean areas outside.
Right.
And them kind of gazebo kind of things you get with like gas heaters in and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And you get your drinks brought you kind of thing.
Right.
On the 10th of December or something daft like that, am I going to sit outside with a gas heater?
No.
Like it's peeing down the rain and snow.
Yeah,
but your drinks brought outside,
Yeah, when you think about it as well, what happens when you go to the pub? You've had 4 pints. Where do you go? You go to the loo, where all the men are standing side by side by side by side, or they're queuing, or they're... And in the ladies, no disrespect, girls, but you're all there doing your hair and I'm getting ready to go back in. I mean, people will go back to the norm. And I just don't see the point in you separate it's kind of like the whole shopping thing. If you're going to lock down and socially distance, you can't have a shop open unless there's only one person in it. Because as soon as you get into a shop, everybody's crossing each other and, hang on, I forgot a cauliflower, and walking in the opposite direction to go and get it. It's human nature. So if you're going to lock down, you're going to lock down properly. And we haven't done it. We haven't locked down properly by any stretch. I was in a queue for a shop, and the queue... It was kind of snaky, they'd put like the bollards up, so there was one queue going to the left and one going right, like queuing up for a ride at Alton Towers, And the queue disappeared into 2 queues, and I was standing shoulder to shoulder to the queue going in the opposite direction. I wasn't 2 meters away, and nobody cared. It was a sunny day. Everybody was out with their sleeves up, and yet every 9th person had a mask on. Now,
well, it's like after down the Metro Centre, I haven't been there since last September. Like you hardly need to go down there for a big shopping anyway. But my mate got an emergency eye test at work.
Right.
Because she needed it. She kept getting migraines in front of the computer screen. So anyway, they're able to go in. This was going back in, I think about when I was June, probably end of March, start of April. And anyway, they're able to get an eye test. So she got an eye test. And I bought a bike back in December. And I bought it, and I thought, I'll leave it like, when it comes through, say, like March, April. And And then this all happened, so I can't get an eye test because they're shut, so I can't do my CBT to get on the road. So I've got a bike sitting there and paying for it every month, and I can't even buy it.
And it's been the perfect weather for it. Not so much this week, but certainly last week was blitzing. It was lovely. But this is the thing, and also people are dying to go to the dentist, and some people have got sore teeth, and some people have lost a cap, and some people have lost a crown, and dentists aren't having you, and they're being super cautious because they think that it's to do with like fluid in the eyes or fluid in the in the mouth or what have you. But dentists wear masks anyway, so I don't even then I don't see too big an issue with the damn thing. But be interesting to see how the whole world starts peeling back again, and whether they've got the guts just to see it through, or whether they're going to have a wobble. You know, if there are a number of deaths anyway, the figures have been going down nicely on the curve. And any death's a death too many, of course. But you see, what we have to realise is that death is actually normal. People die every year, right the way through the year. And once again, I've got a story that I was going to regale to you. A guy called Chris, his uncle died, and they said it was corona. He had a post-mortem because he didn't show any symptoms or any signs of it, and it was actually a blood clot in his leg. And he went back to the hospital and said that this was not anything to do with corona. It was a blood clot in his leg. And they said, yes, but the precautions for coronavirus meant we didn't get a chance to see him and diagnose his blood clot, so it was COVID that killed him.
Right, yeah. I can see what that's all kind of about, yeah.
But COVID didn't kill him. But everybody says, oh, COVID, he died of COVID. But he didn't. He had a blood clot in his leg. So why not say he died because of a blood clot in his leg? Because that's the truth. Just we're told everything's to do with COVID because of the lockdown. I do think we've just got to be a little bit careful with the truth here and see it for what it is rather than the spin that's being put on it for some reason. But hopefully we're on our way out. We're riding out into the sunshine. So, anyway. That's what we hope in any case. Anything else you got for us then, Gavin?
Just quickly going back to the dentist, I've got a loose bridge in my right top part of my mouth.
Oh,
that was at work a couple of weeks ago. And when you're eating and you kind of go, oh, what's that? And I touched it and I went, oh, that's going monkey. And I think what's happened is, because I like me cans of popping, I like me cans of Stella, and stuff like that. So I think over the years, it's been in quite a long time actually. It's been in for about 7 years. Yeah,
but they can. I mean, if you got to the dentist, they would be able to just clunk that back in place, wouldn't they?
I rang on the dentist in Gateshead, and he says, "Look, I can't do anything because you've got no swelling, you've got no trauma, no bleeding, no pain." He says, "Just when we do like regular appointments, just come and see us, kind of thing." So tomorrow, which is the 8th of June, and it's like conflicting information. I thought that like from tomorrow. They'll be doing regular appointments, but apparently it's just genuine emergencies and stuff. So I've been looking online. I've got to ring him tomorrow and see what the crack is like. Yeah,
it's just every time you're eating something, you're thinking, "Oh, is it going to fall? Is it going to fall? Is it going to fall?" I mean, that's just not. It's just not comfortable. It's irritating more than anything. That's the thing.
It only moves when I press it, like, so I'm just like kind of eating like soft buns and like curries and rice and stuff like that. So, but I have.
The reason I'm 100 stone is I can only eat curry because of my dentist.
Oh, no, I'm only 9 stone 1. Don't put on weight. I've got my mum's jeans.
Are you very lucky?
Anyway, just quickly, the Metro Centre in Eldon Square, it's been on the news. The administrators are on standby, which obviously is worrying because this goes back to the shops being shut, people not spending money, the units can't pay their rent, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So I hope the Metro Centre does not go bust. It's been there for a long time, since even when I was a kid. Even Metroland, I mean, I'm 31. Metroland was amazing when I was a kid.
We could all remember that. Whack-a-mole, absolutely. And the train that went round and everything. Yeah, it was happy days. Hey, Gavin, let's keep our fingers crossed. We will be positive.
Is there anything in the hat, Alan?
We don't do the hat these days, but we'll be running a competition for a mug a bit later on, okay?
Oh, lovely. Okay, lovely.
No worries, man. Thank you very much for coming on. Gavin there in Wickham, talking about the race protests and COVID and all kinds of things. Whatever you want to talk about, let us do that. Don't forget we won your icky and yucky things. Please, got a couple more. Reach for the Raljecks. These are, if every song, I love this. My all-time favourite, boom, of songs for nanas and grandas. I Can't Start Loving You. I can't start loving you. And there we go. Hang on. We got Tony Trusty Taxi Driver here. There have been approximately 20,000 more deaths in the UK than the same period in 2018. So if 40,000 people are claimed to have died of COVID, how do these figures not add up? Right. Yeah, well, that's the point I was making. So if, 20,000 more people died last year, and it doesn't make sense, because if more people died last year and fewer people died with COVID because of COVID, surely we should have been dancing in the streets and certainly not locking down. I don't understand why they chose to do what they did. It was panic. Maybe it's because they saw other countries doing it and felt that they had to. But it would be very interesting to hear your views. This one from Chris. Well, as all your listeners, I still am yet to know of anyone who's had COVID. And for me, personally, I've lost my job, suffered mentally with anxiety and depression. I've got children who's too scared to go out the house and would prefer to stay in. I am fed up completely. Let's get back to normal as soon as possible. Tim, there's a new study of autopsied patients in Italy. COVID is a bacterium, not a virus, and it causes blood clots in the lungs, and that is what kills you, says Tim. So it's not even a virus. Do you see how we could really do with the truth? Just get it all out there, but we're not hearing it. Anyway, let us crack on. We got more people to talk to. Let's do exactly that. This is Jezza, who's in Jarrow. Hiya, Jezza.
Hi, mate. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking. What you got for me tonight?
Well, I wasn't expecting to come on, but I left a comment on the live feed saying that I would love to photograph you one day for my photography page.
Good grief, blimey! Have you seen my face? Good gracious! I mean,
well, I have. You've actually changed over the years from the last time we've talked, but both will have.
Sure.
No, what it is, I run a street photography page called People in the Northeast.
Right.
And I spend an hour or two a week when I can, walk around with my dogs and my camera,
right,
just getting pictures of everyday life.
That's great.
Stop people, have a chat, ask how they are.
Right.
Ask if I can take a picture and that,
Right.
But, sorry, I was just getting a drink there.
That's all right, fine.
Like I said, I wasn't prepared for this.
How long have you been doing this, though? Because you must have quite a catalogue of people over the years, then.
I've been doing it, the street photography, for 5 years.
Oh, wow, right.
Since I moved back to the Northeast from Wales.
Mm.
When my house deteriorated, I got a dog.
Right.
And I got a little point-and-click camera.
Uh-huh. Right.
And I just started going around taking pictures. And friends in Wales said, I had this thing called a good eye.
Right, yes.
And I was like, oh, cool. That's groovy,
Nice to know. Yeah.
And then, I kind of liked that people were liking my photography.
Sure.
So I started sharing them online. And then I got a bug.
Right. No, I can see how that is. And also, because you do it the way that you do by talking to people, you're never short of friends, because people will recognise, oh, there's that guy that took the picture, and they'll say hello to you. And
well, not necessarily me. They recognise my dogs.
So the dog is
Bella and Bobby.
Yeah.
My golden Labradors. If people have seen me around Newcastle, they'll know them.
Right.
But I like to show the good, all walks of life, really. Because life isn't all good, it isn't all bad.
Mm.
It's a balance between the both.
No, for sure.
And I'm very interested in highlighting people that do good for charity.
Right.
Because it's a hobby that I love to do, because of my bad health, if I can help promote others, then I would love to.
That's a nice thing. Hey, that's good. Good on you.
It's weird. The last time we actually talked was about 20-something years ago.
God gracious. Right.
When I was at my worst with my epilepsy. And I just had stopped working in the cat and dog shelter.
Right.
Long time ago. But and I'd never had a love for anything really since till this.
Right. Well, you've been needing something to fill the gap, and at last it sounds like you found it. That's great. That's good news.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, the one thing I've got to say, because I'm obviously plugging my page, shameless plug, by the way.
Yeah, do it. No,
people in the Northeast.
Right. So is that on Facebook, is it?
It's on Facebook. It's on Instagram.
Right.
And I'm about to launch a website soon.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll be watching. People in the Northeast on Facebook in the meantime.
Yeah.
For people that have remember being stopped by this crazy guy with 2 dogs.
Definitely.
Right.
Basically what it is, my inspiration, I don't know if you've ever heard of the book. It's called Humans of New York.
I haven't. Tell me more.
It's a series of books. There's one from New York, Amsterdam, Dublin, and London. And it's basically people doing what I do.
Uh-huh.
They've gone out, got people's pictures and their stories, or maybe a quote, and just highlighting life.
Right. That's nice.
And aspect of life.
You're doing the British version of it. That's great.
Yeah, I'm doing the Northeast version. I do have to warn people within the page. I do have certain beliefs in life of the need of cannabis needing decriminalised.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I do highlight that in some pictures, but my main aim is every single walk of life.
Right. Okay. Hey, well, let's
from young to old.
Yeah. Let's hope that everybody pops in and has a look. Then it'd be nice to think that a few people would pop by.
Well, that's the thing. I would actually love to have your picture because you're like the work you do for charity and everything else. If it could be arranged at all.
Yeah, we'll sort something out.
I know you're a busy man.
I think at the present moment, just with the lockdown thing, the building's locked down as well. But as soon as this lot opens up the doors, you'll be more than welcome to come in. I've got no qualms about that.
I would love to. Do you know what? That's what's drove me crazy because I can't get out to do this.
Yeah. No, I know.
So now I'm basically going around my streets in Jarrah and getting everybody here when I can.
Right. Hey, but we'll make it happen as soon as this all clears up. But Jezza,
I'd love that.
Thank you very much.
One more extra little plug.
Of course, go for it.
I'm actually, if my health allows, going to be doing photography for a charity event at the Phoenix Theatre in October.
In Blythe, right.
October the 9th in Blythe. It's for a drag duo called the Twisted Sisters.
Right.
And the headline act is going to be Lorraine Crosby.
Oh, she's great. Lorraine's great.
Forgive me here, I haven't really heard of her because I'm a country music fan.
She's got a great voice. She's loud and proud, and she was on the Meatloaf #1 hit. I still remember. Right?
I've been told that a million times. So I've got a YouTuber actually.
Yeah, you have to. No, she's very special. Jezza, thank you very much. Good to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, man. Bye bye. Hey, no, it's easy done. Can I take your picture? Play me. We're a showy lot in showbiz, you know. Anyway, Brandon is up a mountain and he's in concert. Let's go and talk to him. Hiya, Brandon.
Hiya, Alan. Can I start off with giving a few shout-outs to all my cool cats and kittens?
Yes, go on.
Right, first off, Holly Astronaut, Nathan Laddie, Shannon Fettis, Liam Bewley, Louise Murphy, Connor Carlin, Sean Williams, Steph Harmon, Kate Costello, Lauren Heslop, Alex Abassi, Anne Basie, Tooth, Liam's mum, Laura Mulligan, my mum and my dad.
Hey, the concert posse. Right.
I've got all my friends from concert watching.
Hey, good. So what do you want to talk about then, Brandon?
So what do you think about all this COVID stuff then?
What do you reckon?
I'm sick of it. I'm putting a load of weight on, like.
Because you can't go anywhere and you're just sitting around thinking, I'll have a sandwich. I know there's a lot of there's a lot of people done this. I tell you what, I'll just have an I'll have a lolly. Oh,
yeah.
I'll have some toast.
Ordering takeaways 3 nights a week and that.
Oh, hell's teeth, right?
It's not good. Spending a fortune. Skint now, Alan. Not good. So it was bad. It's bad about the protests in Newcastle, isn't it?
Oh, I don't understand why we can't. If you're going to protest, stand there with a placard, have a chant, but you don't have to punch people or chase the police or any of that business.
I don't understand all the violence.
No, I don't get it. I don't get it either. And it's like they say, well, the police in Britain, they're the same as the police in America. They're a million miles away from the police in America.
Exactly, yeah. It's not good. Everyone just thinks the same thing, don't they?
Yeah.
It's all those rubbish.
It is daft.
Well, how are you feeling anyway, Alan? You doing all right?
Hang on. Still alive? I'll keep going as long as I can. Don't you worry.
Yeah, definitely. So, what do you have for your breakfast? Do you have out like?
What did I have for breakfast? I had a bacon sandwich. There you go.
Nice.
Tell you.
Oh, really nice.
Tell you,
I
living
had
the
to see him,
dream.
actually. Had to see him.
There you, living the dream. That's what it is, Brandon.
Exactly. I can't wait for the pubs to open so I can get there really drunk with all my friends. Like, how stupid. You should come and have a beer with us one day, Alan.
The thing is,
When it's open.
in the meantime, are you not like having a drink with people on? When there's
Yeah,
like 9 of you on the
um,
phone and you're all drinking in different houses. Can you do that?
We're having a few, like, on that house party app there is now. We're all, like, video calling each other, having a few beers.
Right.
It's quite, it's good, but I wish we'd
not
all
the
do
same.
it, like, together in the same household, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But it's not worth the risk.
It's not the same.
Yeah, you should come to a concert one day, Alan, and have a few beers with us. There's a few good nightclubs like K2, Chaplin's, Union.
I love concert. I've got nothing. Nothing will keep me away from the Mountain people. So we'll have to do that at some point. Brandon.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for calling.
Alan.
Love to the posse.
No worries, Alan.
Thank
Right,
you,
I'll
man.
see you
Take
later,
care.
Alan.
Bye-bye. Oh, they're just nice people. Just nice peeps. That's the thing. So I want to dedicate something nice to them. What can we possibly do? Let me see if I can. Oh, yeah. Yeah, go on. I can do that. I think that we should definitely give them a little bit of Belinda Carlisle, maybe. But I asked Belinda last time she was in what ticks her off. This is what she had to say.
What really ticks you off?
Oh, I don't know. I think ignorance really does. And
Ignorance over
I
what?
mean, ignorance over just, I don't know. I mean, intolerance and ignorance, which are actually probably the same thing.
Yeah.
In some ways. So I think I'd say that makes me angry. And
I think the whole Elia riots thing spawned
well,
from
I mean,
that precise
America
thing.
makes me really angry, actually. So that's one of the reasons why I won't go back.
Right.
Americans make me really angry.
We love America, though, in general, this country. So why
No, whatever.
why have you got it down on it?
I'm really against gun culture and you know, America's like not minding their own business sometimes, and there's things that they don't know about or they do know about, and it's just about money.
Right.
So, but I mean, most of all, it's the gun culture and the way the country is run. Really.
What makes you laugh then, Belinda? What kind of things
I
make
Love
you
Lucy.
giggle?
I Love Lucy still after all these years, which is a sitcom. I love English humor. I love dry wit and irony a lot, and English humor is filled with that.
Night Owls with Alan Robson.
What are we talking about next? You make the call. 0191 488 3188.
Greatest Hits Radio.
And don't forget, on Greatest Hits Radio, there is part of a new documentary series called Cities of Sound. We're looking for the best cities for music and culture across the Northeast. Which ones in our part of the world do you think need to be recommended? You can go onto the website, click Cities for Sound for your chance to feature in one of our special programs. You talking about the part of the world that you want to cover. And also, Hits Live Fest is coming to Greatest Hits Radio, the world's biggest ever live performances across 3 massive stages. Sound good? Find out more about that. It is coming to your radio on Saturday, the 20th of June. And if we're hearing that football's kicking off on the 19th, blimey, what a weekend that's going to be. Got a lot of messages. Gary Jerry says, you used to kick off on one of the incarnations of Night Owls with Daryl Way's Little Plum, which we're still using. And what were the other tracks? Well, one of them, the next one following on from that, was by an outfit called Philharmonia 2000, and it was their version of Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture. That was a chunk of it, and it went into all kinds of other things. We mixed something special. Yasmin Jade Waterman, Mrs. Darren Declan, and has great memories of the show. Good to have you with us, Yasmin. Sarah Danby Cooper, we all have lockdown bods and suffer from casual alcoholism. I think you're speaking for yourself there. And also, this one, a text. Yeah, you can text the word Alan plus your message to 61054. 61054. Hi, Alan. How you doing? First time I've messaged the show. Just got back from overnight fishing at the Oaks in Thirsk. We're allowed to do this now. It's a form of sport. It was my first time fishing, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Just a shame we didn't catch any fish. Anyway, love hearing you on the radio. Just wish there was more days. Cheers, Phil. Thank you. And hi, Alan. When my dog was a puppy, he was playing in the back garden on a hot summer's day with a stick. I called him and asked him to bring me the stick, and he did. I took the stick out of his mouth and quickly realised what the dog had in his mouth wasn't a stick, it was a stink. I threw it across the garden and had to run to the kitchen sink. The air was blue, says Jackie. That's an icky moment. It's our first icky moment. What was your icky, yucky moment? We want some more of them. Chris is with us in a place that I was yesterday, Westerhope. Hi, Chris.
Hello there. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very well, mate. Thank you for calling in. What can we do for you, man?
I was just contacted again about yesterday being at Cenotaph.
Right. How did it go? Because obviously with the social distancing and what have you, it was obviously quite a different thing, I'm guessing.
Well, I only arranged to go by myself.
Right.
But a friend of mine turned up, and we kept our social distancing as we should.
Sure.
But there was no way that I wasn't going to be there. It's something that I've always done, but not here.
Right. Why is it so special to you? Because obviously there are many people who were not live when that day happened, D-Day celebrations.
Well, I'm ex-military.
Right.
And for the last 12 years, I've actually been organising parades, camps, tours, and marches over in France, in Normandy.
Right. Oh, wow.
So this year it's been one of them sad occasions when I haven't been able to go and honour the people who gave us freedom
right.
in this country.
Yeah.
So I had to do something about it, and the only thing I could think about doing was going and standing at the cenotaph in memory of
paying your respects.
Those men and women who 76 years ago came onto the beaches at Normandy.
No, for sure. It's a funny thing, you know, because we seem to learn an awful lot from movies. And obviously the Longest Day was on yesterday, which is a classic of its sort, with every star known to man appearing in that old movie. And yet it was only when Spielberg got involved with Saving Private Ryan that you really got a flavour of how lethal the whole thing was. It was a terrifying to open the door, and if there just happened to be a German machine gun nest level with you, they wiped out everybody on the landing craft. I wanted to, for a soldier, remembering that some of those soldiers were some of those that came back from Dunkirk, to go back in that way, blimey, you must have the type of courage that you could only imagine.
Well, I've met many of them in the past, because I've met them over the years. I've become good friends with a lot of them.
Right.
Sadly, nowadays a lot of them aren't returning because they're not here anymore.
Sure.
But they are wonderful men, honest, good men.
Did any of them ever? Because the frustrating thing for people like me in this industry is I want to hear their whole story. I want to hear the what was it like when they were stuck on the boats travelling over. How did you come? How come you weren't throwing up every couple of seconds? And did any of them ever just unveil the whole thing to you and tell you everything?
I've had many stories on it, many, of many different people from different parts of the world.
Right.
I've met some great people from all over the world, and they've got really great stories. I'm not going to allude to them on tonight, because it would take me from now until the next century to relay them all, because there's so many of them. It
was a terrifying yet glorious phase in the freeing of Europe, essentially, wasn't it? That was the thing. And
and none of these men wanted to go there.
Right.
I've never met one of them who wanted to do what he had to do.
Yeah.
He did it to give us the freedom that we have.
Sure.
They put their lives on the line. They lost a lot of their friends. And that's one of my driving ambitions, to try and keep this alive. Sadly, I'm not winning. We're trying our hardest. But me and a small group, I usually take about between 30 and 60 air cadets over to France every year.
Right.
And we teach them about the horrors of war.
Sure.
We introduce them to the cemeteries, the museums. We introduce them to the veterans who tell them the stories.
Right.
We educate them in what war really is. It's not the glory of Private Ryan.
No, for sure.
It's got nothing to do with Hollywood.
No.
And this is why we try to keep it going. And I haven't been able to do that this year, although my friends in France have done their bit.
Well, they would have their hands tied over there as much as you had your hands tied here, though, I'm sure.
One of my good friends is the mayor of Aramosh.
Right.
Which is one of the big places over there.
Right.
And they have a live stream yesterday at 4 o'clock of their little ceremony, but they were not going to have a ceremony.
Sure.
The same as I didn't not want to go to Newcastle Cenotaph and pay homage to these men and women,
right?
And animals.
Yeah.
And we mustn't forget the animals.
Right. No, it's a wonderful thing that you do, and again, it is strange, because traditionally on night owls, when we were a full week, we'd had a whole night of clips and all that kind of thing. It's not that kind of music show now, essentially, but music and talk. So we couldn't get to do that. But the things that we've done in the past, we managed to find, these are all things I'm sure that you will know inside out. We got footage of pilots talking about what they could see when the landings occurred. They were flying over and watching what was happening and reporting back. We had clippings of sound cuts of journalists who were on the beach with the soldiers and being shot at, and what it felt like, and the genuine fear you can hear in their voices. And it's only when you hear all of this, just real people doing real things, that you can really get a hold on what was going on, because I don't think Hollywood remotely has done this whole thing any justice, because I don't think you can, even in your mind's eye, imagine the magnitude of what was going on there and the amount of human life that was going out on a limb to save ultimately everybody here in Europe, and getting rid of the evil that the German army were perpetuating on the people. It was,
that's right. And a lot of the people that I know in France lived through this.
yeah.
One of my friends who's a doctor in a little place called Rouen near Caen, near Carpentier Airport. His family ran a farm there, and he lived through it, and he's kept it going ever since. He's now got a museum there, which is a very good museum. And we go there every year and show people the real things that were there, the dangerous things that happened. And it's a wonderful place to go, because it's so educational.
Sure.
Everybody should try and get there at one time or other just to get educated. One thing that saddened me yesterday.
What's that?
Was standing at the cenotaph with my Royal Air Force Association banner, because I'm the chairman of the Royal Air Force Association in Newcastle and Gateshead.
Right.
I was standing there, and so many people came and asked me what I was doing and why I was there.
Right.
And I explained to them why I was there, and then they realised, oh, is it? And it was that saddened us yesterday, but.
I kind of get it, mind. I kind of get it. Everybody's wrapped up in we've been made to be cocooned, and even though this is obviously it featured on the news, they say, "Oh, it's the 6th of June," and oh, that date's familiar. Is it me Auntie Mary's birthday? We've been cocooned, and the only thing that we've been fed for the last 5 months has been coronavirus to the max. We haven't been given everything else, really. And if it was mentioned at all, it was right at the bottom as a quick one-liner before you get to the weather. So I kind of get it. Traditionally, people would have been out in spades and there'd have been, massive ceremonies at public buildings across the country, and so they should be for these people.
There was supposed to be ceremonies all over. I know Newcastle didn't have a ceremony planned, but Sunderland did.
Right. Deserve
better.
Not
so long ago, we celebrated VE Day.
Yes.
And VE Day was a genuinely good day.
But it still wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been for D-Day.
Well, that's it. D-Day was when the men and women who gave their lives made the ultimate sacrifice.
Sure. No, absolutely.
VE was a celebration of the fact that they had given their lives to end the war.
Sure.
So it could have been better.
They certainly deserve better, Chris. Chris, we must move on, but bless you. Thank you for coming on. Absolute respect. Thank you for coming on.
No problem, man.
Thanks, man. Bye-bye. They deserve better. They deserve better. And, we talk about how people now are working hard to keep us safe, and we applaud, and we wouldn't have had that. We wouldn't be able to applaud if it wasn't for the likes of those that did that. We got Cliff, and he's in Gosforth. Hello, Cliff.
Hello, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm very well, mate. Thank you for coming on. What can we do for you? What are you talking about tonight?
I tell you what, first thing is it's lovely to speak to you after all of these years.
Thank you.
The last time I spoke to you was 1986.
Oh, blimey. Right.
Probably at your peak.
Oh, you mean it's been going down ever since? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, your words, not mine. But I phoned you up. I don't know whether you remember, but it was quite contentious at the time, but I phoned you up about the deregulation and privatisation of the local buses.
Right, I remember talking about it, certainly.
Oh, yeah, because it was a big thing back then. Anyway, I'm amazed you remembered. What I wanted to phone up today for and just have a little chat about was, and I know people keep going on about the coronavirus and all that sort of thing, and I was listening to you a few weeks ago, and you had some real concerns that actually there was a lot of things being made up.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of, we're getting fed lots of information and we don't know where it's coming from.
Yep. There's a lot of spin being put on a lot of things. But that's always the way, isn't it?
Well, yeah, spins all over the place. But so I worked out that coronavirus is an anagram of virus or a con.
Right. virus or a con. Oh, blimey.
Well, there you go, eh?
Can't make that up,
And
can you? Right.
Well, you can't. So me other... Oh, no, hang on. No, it's virus is a con. Virus is a con.
Virus
but still,
is a con.
still the same thing. And I reckon this whole thing's been set up to stop seeing what we've seen over this weekend with public riots, and I think it's been something that maybe the world's used to stop people being so nasty to each other. I mean, remember, I live in Gosforth, like you said, but I won't say where. And I remember this time last year, what they're called again? Those people who like the community. I mean, the environment. Infinity complexity or something.
All right, yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah.
Energy philosophy or something.
Mm-hmm.
What they're called again, man? They stopped all the traffic.
Right, but we know who you mean. But what about them?
Oh, Extinction Rebellion. That's it.
Right.
Extinction Rebellion. Yeah, but I thought that this whole coronavirus thing was put on to stop things like that happening, to stop public gatherings, and the stuff that we're seeing this weekend is sort of showing that it's not working.
Right. So, but you don't believe there was a coronavirus then?
Well, I'm not really qualified to say that, but I would suggest that we definitely don't have all the information.
Right, okay. But you think it was trying to make us behave better, and so kind of like the government pulling in the leash to try and say, well, look, you've had it your own way a long time now, we're going to take charge. Is that what you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, it's just a theory, and I'm sure people would pull all sorts of things from my ideas, but I just think that we were leading ourselves down a patch in the past, and it was where lots of people were doing uprisings and lots of people were doing things that I don't know, maybe lots of people like all the stuff that's going on, but I'm not saying that I don't. I'm just saying that I think sometimes there's minorities and they think they speak for more people than they speak for.
Right, no, I understand that. No, that makes sense. Okay. Hey, well, Cliff, thank you very much for coming on. Good for you to stir the pot a bit. Thank you for ringing in.
Yeah, cheers now, bye.
No worries, bye-bye. Tony watched D-Day, says, I watched a really interesting programme about Dunkirk. One of the old boys was telling a story about an officer telling him to hide his RAF uniform under a large coat or he'd be beaten up. Apparently the lads on the beach thought the RAF had abandoned them to their fate. I'm sure the pilots wanted to go but were held back in fear of losing all of our aircraft. Brave men and women. That's Tony. Wayne, hope you're well. My song for nanas and granddads is my old-time favourite by Thin Lizzy. There's Horlicks in the jar. Oh, that's brilliant. Again, one of my favourites was the Ray Charles song, I Can't Start Loving You. Brilliant. But we got another one which is just tremendous. Think Louis Armstrong. Think Ella Fitzgerald. Think Porgy and Bess. Zimmer time. And the living is easy. Brilliant. Thank you for that. William Walton seems to think, knocking on heaven's door. Blimey, be positive, man. Ho. And he says, Alan, my wife and I coped pretty well throughout the lockdown. My wife has mental health issues and has filled her time in with the Loom band creating, even though her anxieties have been through the roof. Listening to past shows by yourself helps her sleep with your soothing voice. Willinder, oh, bless you. Thank you very much. And he's got a poem, too. I've loved and I've lost family and friends at cost. A piece of my heart was taken away when upon earth you no longer could stay. Your time was short, but not for naught. You showed life and love till you were called above. I will always remember the things you all used to say, for I know we'll all be together again one day. Nice poem from William. And Easter sent a picture in of a bloke. He's wearing sunglasses and a mask. And on his T-shirt, there's a picture of the man wearing those saying, hi, it's me, I'm Steve. Is that the future of T-shirts? I don't know. Time will tell. Got to get a piece of music away now and a quick break. So, if we're going to talk to the stars, why not? I had a chat with Mark Owen from Take That about, well, all kinds. So tell me something that we didn't know about you. Have you got any phobias? Have you got any fears? What kind of things can you tell us?
Well, I stopped smoking at the beginning of this year. No, it's not really a phobia. I was more of an OCD, really, my smoking thing. But do you know what? I don't like earwigs.
Earwigs?
I still, even when I see an earwig now, go, ooh, earwigs. Still give me the little, makes me shiver a little bit.
You don't have to worry about them unless you're in a certain well-known reality program stuck out in the jungle.
Oh, I know, so they'd be getting me out of here. Yeah, I don't know how they do that.
Weren't you talking to them about going in there at one time, though?
No, I've never been asked.
And would you?
No, I couldn't do it. I mean, I cry when I watch it on the telly. I feel that sick. Yeah, I don't think I could do that. But I admire them for eating caterpillars.
Accidents, operations, what you had? Tell us about the Mark Owen body.
Yeah, on the same tour, the Beautiful World Tour, my worst injury. We used to do this daft thing, which we shouldn't have been doing at our age anyway. I had a breakdance move. I used to jump onto my shoulder and spring myself back up. I just landed funny. I don't know what I did to my shoulder, but I literally I kind of dislocated my shoulder on stage, and I remember just the pain. I mean, I think I screamed, but nobody heard me. But I think I did actually scream on stage. It was like still bad.
But I hope you upheld the tradition of the show must go on.
Yeah, probably about 4 songs off the end. Yeah, really hurt. But then I mean, we have had a few injuries during our years. We used to do this other daft thing where I would just put his foot in my hand. You've probably seen it. He used to flip, and they do back somersaults. I would put his foot in my hand, and it wasn't in properly. And I knew it wasn't in proper, but because we were trained to do everything to the beat, I'm thinking your foot's not in my hand now, but I cannot stop because I am programmed now to try and throw you over my head. And I just naturally went to do it, and he landed and he broke his finger.
Oh!
I remember he's doing the routine, and he's smiling, and his fingers are pointing in the opposite direction. I'm thinking, it's not good, Howard. It's not good. And then so he had to, for the next song, he had to go off. He couldn't carry on because his finger was literally. And then later on, we used to have these lifts coming out of the floor, and he came up with his, I think it was his middle finger, and he came up with his middle finger all strapped up. Brilliant.
This is the home of Alan Robson's Night Owls.
With the voice of the North.
Greatest Hits Radio.
Now, I haven't given you your first clue yet, so let's do that. That's to win one of these, a Night Owls mug with the blah on it. Well, no, that way. There we go. Get to those phones. So, good idea. First clue is this. A street in Newcastle is named after stalls and traders. When you see a lot of stalls and traders that people come from all over, you call it a what? It's that street that is your first clue. Okay? Right. Yeah, the Quayside used to have one of these. Quayside. You call it street. Write that down. That's your first clue. Both of those words. Okay? 3 more clues to come, and you've got to use that information to tell me the name of a massive hit. This is a number 1 greatest hit. So you've got to try and identify it if you can. Might have you tonight. Might just have you. Right. A lot of messages coming in. Alan Grant, I've been shielding for 11 weeks, and you're better than the TV. Well, thank you very much. Dorothy Blood Orange wants to say hi to her man. Tommy Bovril Hands. She loves the show. Joy Degg, she says it's upsetting to see the world at odds and all of the unrest. Joy to the world. Joy. Carlos Crosspanty says, how many people remember my grandparents' gelateria in colour coats? And he had to go back to Italy when he was 10. Avril Hodgson wants to wish Adam and Jenna good luck for tomorrow. Fingers crossed. And Philip Murphy, the video show that you did, will it come back? It got a good audience for a purely online broadcast. Well, we are planning to do it, and if we do it, we're going to do it properly. It's just takes a lot. It's a massive commitment, and we're going to have to try and find some way to get it done, because it'll only happen if we do it. So let's crack on. A lot of other messages. Enjoying the show from Hotel Spring. We've spoken quite a few times about various Northeast events. You've always been so lush. Let everybody know about Events to Go. Find us on Facebook. As soon as things get back to normal, we will be hosting the biggest and best Northeast festivals and carnivals for everybody to enjoy. Stay safe and never change. And then she's put what looks like 2 blue testicles and a penis cut in half. But that's Fiona sending them in. I'm fairly sure it probably isn't that. I'm not sure what it is, though. Alan says, the best part of the lockdown for me has been reconnecting with my Northern Soul roots, playing the classics, reminiscing my younger days on the YouTube. You never lose the dance rhythm, although me backflip days have gone forever. Keeping the faith. Great seeing you. Eileen Fennick from Throtty. Thanks, Eileen. And hi, Alan. Just found you on Greatest Hits Radio as I moved from Wallsend to Dunfermline in Fife. Was always at your Night Owls events around the Northeast when you had the Bladettes. In fact, my first crush was on the blonde one, I think called Lindy. Melinda. Yeah, she was a nice lady. Glad to hear you again. Stay safe. Barry from Dunfermline. So there you go. You got a clue. Oh, we're getting some more of these songs for the elderly. This one's not nice at all. Nana, hey, hey, kissing goodbye. Now, that's not funny. The other one that I've chosen, I've come up with this to try and put that joke right. Rod Stewart classic hit, You're Wearing Well. How about that? Just for nanas and grandas everywhere. So make sure if you can think of a song that's perfect for the senior citizen, put it in there. We're supposed to be paying tribute to them, not scaring them to death. Okay, let's crack on. Who else is out there? I think we have Paul, and he is in the fine city of Lincoln. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Hello there. What can we do for you, Paul?
I got a phone call about what was on my mug. It was Lee's in Newcastle.
All right. How do you get hold of them in Lincoln, or do you have to come up north for them?
I normally go when I'm in the Metro Centre. Sometimes pop into shop there and get one. Or you can get them online, stuff like that.
Ah, champion. So you keeping the faith even though you're a long way away. What do you reckon about the takeover then, if it's going to happen or if it's not?
Well, I'd like to see it happen. It's been a little bit drawn out, but that's Newcastle United, isn't it? It wouldn't be the same if it wasn't a bit of a scandal or a long drawn out process.
If it's
I hope it does.
if it's not a drama, it's not Newcastle United, though. That's the way it is.
Yeah, I'd like to see it though. I mean, I've waited 40 odd years for a bit of success, and I've been there through thick and thin, and it'd be nice to see it for a change, I suppose. Something decent, a bit of investment, and in the area as well.
No, absolutely, and because you know yourself that if your football club's kicking, if it's really working well, if you remember the time of the Entertainers when they were 10 points ahead of Manchester United, the whole city's buzzing around all of that with are we going to make it, are we going to do it? And of course it wasn't to be, but blimey, that time the whole city was electric, wasn't it?
It was, and I mean, even now, 162 mile back to Lincoln's a long way when we get beat. And I go, being a season ticket holder, I go to all the home games, and
Wow.
it's a long way when they don't play so well.
No, absolutely. Now, I would imagine you've had quite a few mithering, grumbly trips back to Lincoln over the years.
I do, and you get the stick at work and stuff, and it's nice when we win, especially when we beat someone like my boss is a Liverpool fan, so I get some awful jobs when we beat them or we play well. So
No, it's against Liverpool. There've been some brilliant games, and I mean even games that Newcastle have ended up losing. I remember there was one 4-3, which made every Newcastle fan pull their hair out.
Yeah, 2 seasons in a row, I think that was.
But it was, but they were great games. They were fabulous, exciting. Lots of goals, lots of events and little battles left and right. I'd much rather see a game like that than a 0-0 against Norwich. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, last season's was really good like that. That was a good one. I thought we were robbed, actually.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's good.
Anything else then while you're on, Paul?
No, just it's nice talking to you. It's
Pleasure, man.
nice to see you back on the air again. It was so sad to see you, come off the air and everything.
Absolutely.
I've listened to you since I was a young Ben.
Good man. Thank you very much for your loyalty, Paul. Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Take care.
Canny, bye-bye. There you go. Can you imagine travelling all the way up for Lincoln for every home game? There's a proper black and white right there. 0191 488 3188. Right, let us crack on. We've got a bit of music coming up soon, but we'll take another call first. This is Lauren, who is in Darlow, in Darlington. Hello.
Hi, Alan.
Hello, Lauren. What are you talking about this evening?
Just really so pleased to speak to you for the first time.
Yay, thank you.
You were my idol growing up, and I listened to you all the way through my pregnancies, and you just basically inspired me to go to Chillingham Castle.
Did you enjoy it?
Days.
Did you enjoy it?
We enjoyed it, but I wasn't expecting anything to happen because I'm not a skeptic because I do believe. But that room that has the mannequins in,
yeah,
we went over to I was there with my partner and my son. My son was only 10 months old at the time,
right?
And we walked over. Well, I walked over to the window in that room, on the left-hand side, and there was another lady in the room. She wasn't with us. And she was just looking at stuff. And as I walked over to the window, I just got this overwhelming feeling of nausea, absolute sickness.
Yeah.
To the point where I was like, I need to leave. I need to leave this room.
Oh, right.
And I can't explain it. I was absolutely fine, physically, mentally. I was fine. I wasn't expecting anything.
Yeah.
I was just there to look at the stuff because there's so many interesting things in that
Sure, no,
whole
absolutely.
castle.
Yeah. Maybe she picked up the vibe of this is the thing, when a lot of people expect it to be Ghostbusters and you're going to see a ghost eating a hot dog in the corner. It's much more subtle than that. But some people do pick up the feelings that other people have felt when they were at threat or at risk or being tortured or dying or about to die in the castle, and you get that pain in the gut and you feel like you're going to be sick, or you feel like somebody's just need you in the ribs. It's I know a few people that have felt kind of similarly about it. Once you got out of there, did you feel better about things, or was it the whole trip?
No, it was literally that one sort of window that I was in.
Yeah.
like, as soon as I went over there, I just felt horrendous. Like, I didn't feel like mentioning it at the time to my partner because my partner's not into that sort of thing. He, like, I basically dragged him there. He drives, so, and it's quite a far drive from Darlow, to be fair.
Oh, absolutely.
But, like, after hearing, like, I've listened to all your podcasts on Gillingham Castle and stuff, and I felt like we needed to go there.
Yeah.
And my partner loves a good drive out, so I thought, well, why not?
That's a trip.
So, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So we went there, and like I say, like, I've never ever just had a random, like, full on feeling like that. Like, it just sort of just came over me from head to toe, like absolute nausea. Like, I needed to get out of that room and back down the stairs. And as soon as I left the room, I was okay.
It's weird because I had something that's almost identical to that. I'm going to touch fake wood here because I'm going to use the kidney stone analogy because I've had a few kidney stones in my time and they're nasty, blasted things. They're horrible. However, the only pain that I've ever had that's been similar to that horrible pain, I was in a castle in the middle of Ireland called Charleville, and it was a nasty place, and people had done a lot of bad things in there, and it was in the middle of 4 ley lines, so the energy in there couldn't go anywhere because it was trapped in this little square of land. And they tried to build a church to make it better because it was an evil place. So they built a church thinking if we hire a church on there, then obviously it'll be sacred ground and anything bad will be chased away. And it wasn't. Instead, the actual church sank into the ground exactly 1 floor.
Oh, wow.
So that the door on the ground floor went straight into the upstairs of the church, while the ground floor and the basement were now underground. You know, the ground floor and the basement.
Yeah, yeah.
So I went into that door and then I walked down underground 2 floors where the windows had soil on them, you know, because it was sunk into the ground. And when I was down there, it genuinely felt as if somebody had hoofed me in the small parts, and you just, I just went down to, and I was on my hunkers holding my stomach saying, I didn't particularly feel sick. I just had this horrible, horrible pain, as if somebody had really given me a kicking in my life, and I couldn't really walk terribly well because I was in so much pain, and yet I managed to kind of scuttle out of there, and I ended up. The further I got away from it, the better I felt. So then I started to run, and I ran out of the place, and it was my worst moment ever on radio because I was sick, and I kept being sick for about 12 minutes. Now, I don't know about you, but 12 minutes of hearing somebody...
Oh, my God, yeah.
I mean, hearing somebody be sick for 12 minutes, 12 seconds is bad enough. I was just, whoa, and whoa. And then I remembered I was still plugged in, and you go... But
pick yourself up, mate.
Yeah, it wasn't my finest moment, I have to say. But that was the same kind of just a grit. Oh, something's holding you, the insides of you.
Oh yeah,
like
that's exactly how I felt. Like it wasn't so much as a kick to the stomach, but it was just a pure, like absolute wave of nausea that just completely took me over, and like literally, I couldn't. I just needed to leave. Like, I could see this other woman looking at the artefacts, like, in the glass box thing in the middle of the room.
Yeah, next to there's a clock in there as well, like an old ticking kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, nah. I didn't say anything, like I said, I didn't say anything to my partner at the time, but, like, I wasn't holding my son. My son was only 10 months old at the time, but I was like, nah. Need to move on, need to get out of here.
Well, but the good thing is that you went to the castle and you got a feeling that you'd never had before. I know it was a negative one, but at least it showed you that there's stuff there that has an impact on you. That was the thing.
Oh, definitely. Like, I went there with an open mind, like I do everything. Like, I believe in stuff like that, but I never expected to feel anything or see anything. So for that to happen was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
Really.
Well, I'm just glad you did. And I gather you started a new business as well. What's that all about, Lauren?
That's Bang and Boards, we're called.
Yeah.
basically, charcuterie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're the first, in inverted commas, Darton's first and finest charcuterie takeaway service. So it's like
That's
your
different.
cold meats, your cheeses, your crudités, basically nibbles.
Yeah.
Everything's homemade. We buy our own meats and we slice them by hand. We came up. It was like me and my best friend. We've been best friends since we were 4 years old, and we recently just got back in touch. And it was an idea of mine because I love that sort of food. I love seafood.
Yeah.
I just love food in general.
No, I agree with you. Lots of different types. The only thing I don't understand is mortadella. It's
mortadella.
like let's get slices of fat with little tiny bits of meat in it. What's that about? I don't get that at all.
Some people like that.
I know.
Some people love that.
Weird, isn't it? I think that's strange.
See, there's a lot of foods on there that I personally don't like, but a lot of people do. Like olives.
No,
olives are very love and hate.
That's fair enough. That's black and white. You either do or you don't with olives, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the same
See,
thing,
I
isn't it?
keep trying them. We've got a very, very good northeastern wholesaler, and they do the most amazing olives, and they're actually they're imported from Italy.
Right.
Italico, they're called, and they're absolutely amazing. And if you want olives, they're the best olives. But even still, I can't get away from them.
So let's say
one of those things.
Let's say somebody was going to go. What's the name of the business again?
Banging Boards.
Banging Boards. Right now, somebody goes to that on Facebook and they want the equivalent of a pizza or a fish and chips or a curry, but
You sound like my dad.
charcuterie style. They said, no, we're going to go for different flavours, a cold plate of lovely food. And I agree with you. If you're watching a movie or something, you don't want hot. You just want nibbles, don't you? You want a tapasy kind of thing. So I get
that's
it.
kind of what we are.
I get that.
But
What would you get though for your money? Let's say here's a tenner. What would you get?
See, we do different things. See, we do our Italian charcuterie board, which is like your Italian meats, your Italian cheeses.
Right.
We also do Mexicana, so we do like
spicy
empanadas. We do nachos. We do nacho chili, cheese sauce, all those sort of things. But we just started doing picnic boards, and they're really popular. So you get like homemade Scotch eggs with runny yolk. Homemade.
That's great. What a clever
homemade
idea.
Sausage rolls, homemade, we do mint sandwiches, we do truffle chicken sandwiches. And we've just sold out of our Father's Day board, which is basically all things men like. So it's like man-sized Scotch egg, man-sized sausage roll, proper big sarnies, crisps. It's basically like a big massive ploughman's, but really manly.
No, I get it. Banging Boards on Facebook. If you fancy a different kind of takeaway, I do think that you guys, just purely and simply for what's not being done out there, why don't we do it? I think that's great. I really do.
Thank you.
I hope it goes well for you, Lauren. Thank you for coming on anyway.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Good
no
to speak to
problem.
you.
Take it easy, darling. Bye-bye. How good is that? Banging Boards. If you've... And before you start, a lot of people listening in will be thinking, well, that's what I try and do every Saturday night. I can out banging boards. However, no, banging boards. Boards of food, as you've just heard. Italian, Mexican, and I can just see that working. Banging boards, what a great idea. Should be on Dragon's Den and make a fortune. That's what they should do. Let's talk to, it's another mountain man. It's Michael up in Concert. Hiya, Michael.
You all right, Alan?
Yes, Matt, thank you. What are you talking about?
Well, what do you think of Black Lives Matter?
What's your view? What do you think?
I think it's stupid, isn't it?
Well, the problem is it's actually based on something that has become a problem. The police singling out the black population as opposed to the white population or even the Mexican population, the Latino population. So
totally.
A lot of people have been killed. So that needs addressing first. just other people knocking seven bells out of innocent people doesn't make any sense at all to me. None whatsoever.
Doesn't it, Alan? It doesn't.
No. I mean, would you go on a protest like that even if you agreed with it or not?
No.
No.
Wouldn't see me protesting at all.
No, right, okay. It's just I don't think in Britain we've kind of worked out what a protest's supposed to be. We go from doing nothing to full on riot and let's break into a shop and let's see how much, if we can get our telly out of Curry's. You know, we go from there to there. There's no middle ground, it seems, in Britain. You can't stand there with a placard. It's like, whoa, let's break into a shop. It just seems that it's either one or the other, isn't it?
Oh, aye.
Okay, anything else then, Michael?
No, that's it, Alan. I'm going to bed. I've got work in the morning.
All right, but good. Thank you very much for taking your time anyway. Short, sweet, and to the point, and why the hell not? Oh, getting some more of the songs for the elderly. What is it with you? I said pay tribute to your nana and granddad. Go on the one. The Last Waltz, come on. Whiter Shade of Pale, that's fair enough. And an old Bee Gees hit. I've just got to get a massage for you. Oh, that's quite nice. Money's too tight on a pension. Simply read, hey, come on, pins and needles instead of, what's pins and needles? Oh, it was needles and pins. They've got pins and needles instead of the old Searchers song. Also, do not forget we got Rossi, breakfast show in the morning, then Mark Goodyear, Andy Crane, Darren Proctor, Rick Horton, and then Alex Lester. With a few calls and a little bit of music to help you across the week. So just remember, a lot in store on Greatest Hits Radio, and we have more people to talk to. In fact, I think now is the moment that we catch up with another superstar, and this is Steve Harley.
Just want to talk about a few of your heroes. When you were little and growing up, what music turned you into the career that you ended up having?
Well, my mother was a jazz singer. War years.
Yeah.
So she sang around the house all the time. It was a very poor working class family, 5 kids. My dad was a milkman, you know.
Right, brilliant.
So there was no real money about, but they had a radiogram.
Right,
Big old Bush piece of kit. Big old furniture, absolutely. And that had a deck a deck, and a big compartment next to it for the
records.
78s and
Yeah.
some albums, yeah. And I liked big band music. My mum was just singing all day long to the jazz music, you know, because
Right.
she sang it when she was a young woman and semi-professionally. And when I was 11 or 12, I spent a lot of time in hospital as a kid. And over a period between the age of 3 and 16, I spent 3 or 4 years altogether. And when I was 12 in '63, I think by then Dylan was coming out with The Magic, like, you know, the times they are a-changing and blowing in the wind. And I was getting things like that brought down to me in hospital. I knew something was happening. Not just the Beatles, you see. I loved the Beatles. I bought Love Me Do.
Yeah,
I was
everybody
62.
Yeah.
So I was only 11. Bought Love Me Do. Please Please Me. I had all them. From Me to You. I Want to Hold Your Hand was my great favourite in '63 to '64. I think I've got the right year with that one.
Which one actually got you to decide that this
Dylan.
is something that you wanted to do?
Dylan showed me that I was a very avid reader. I was a studious boy, and I was reading serious poetry and literature that was extracurricular. You know, I was reading T.S. Eliot and D.H. Lawrence poetry, and Steinbeck's novels and Hemingway's novels. I was reading them when I was 12 to 16. You know, when I was away from school.
Right.
So I loved literature, and then I loved music. And Dylan came along and said, "You can do both."
Right.
And he really broke the mold. You know, they broke the mold when they made him. Of course, it's
Yeah,
just
right.
a one-off, a genius touched by the
And he's
Almighty.
still great.
It's wonderful. The new album's fabulous. I
Yeah.
totally love it, and he's very, very special.
Robson's Night Owls.
The phone-in that gets you talking.
Greatest Hits Radio.
It is the Night Owls, Alan Robson with you, of course. And Banging Boards. A lot of people asking the name of the charcuterie takeaway. I just think, how cool is that? Look it up. Check out the boards. And Kim Harmer says, the best ghost hunts ever have been done by Alan. Thank you. Jenny Brooker asks, when are you ghost hunting again? We will be picking that up. Stevenson Andoir. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what I've written down. I've got celeb, so I don't know what that means. Legover Lass says she loved the Night Owls where folk rang in giving their personal ghost stories. If you've got one, give me a ring. We'll have one now. JP loved Alan's solo hunts. They were the best, especially the graveyard when he walked and eventually got into the tomb. That was in the North Riding of Yorkshire. And, right, so thank you for that. I have to mention something wonderful and tragic all at the same time. Rachel has sent me some pictures. On the 6th of June, Sam and I got married at the Marie Curie Hospice. It was fab. They were fab. I am now Mrs. Rachel Muir, about time, after nearly 23 years together. Rachel and Sam and Chris. And Rachel and Sam work together musically. They're a great team. He was a dapper-looking chap, and she's absolutely gorgeous. She's a stunner. And they both look fabulous on the day. I feel so sorry because Sam, obviously he's in a hospice, so his time is limited, but I hope he squeezes the juice out of all of it. One of the photographs is of the two of them, obviously isolating but together in the hospice. He's in his wheels of steel, holding Rachel's hand, and she's standing there looking happy and looking amazing. And the next picture is her giving him a cuddle and just looking amazing. And she's got her little blue gloves on. Bless, can't even hold his hand without gloves. It is a lovely, but it rips me heart out. It really does. But thank you for sharing. It's a heartbreaker. It truly is. Anyway, get back into the real world. That's just, it's magic and yet it's gut-wrenching, you know, the whole thing. Going to give you a second clue. You've got to identify a massive number one hit. The first clue is a street in Newcastle named after a whole batch of stalls and traders that go there and they create this, and then they put the word street after it. That's your first clue. Second clue was a hit for the band Sweet, one of their early hits. It's either a hit for Sweet or a nice drink for late at night. Okay, that's your second clue. Write that down. A hit for Sweet or a nice drink for late at night. Your nana would always say, have a cup of this. It wasn't coffee or tea. It was a cup of what? At night time. So, 2 clues down, 2 more clues to come. Will you be able to identify the song? I div not now, but let's find out. Our next caller in is Andy from Dunstone. Hello, Andy.
Hi, Alan.
Hello, sir.
Nice
what can we do for you? Good to talk to you too. Thank you. What about?
I'm just calling you because I'm one of the volunteers with the Friends of Dunstan Staves group.
Right.
So you may have seen on the news that it's been a fairly turbulent couple of weeks for us because we had the arson attack about 3 weeks ago now, which is one of, it's almost like a history of arson attacks, really, you know, this fantastic Grade 2 listed structure, once again targeted by vandals. But aside from that bad news, the good news is that we've got this fantastic new partnership with the National Trust, which is really going to help us to secure the future of the structure.
How do you stop Nuggets setting a damn thing on fire again, though? Because Dunstan States, purely by its nature, is mainly wood. So how do you protect it?
Well, this is very true, and protecting it and putting security on or making it more resilient is a huge challenge to a structure that's over 500 metres long and made of wood. We face that challenge. We've been having another full review to look at how we can improve making it more secure. So there's work going on that front at the moment.
Is there no mileage in, if the National Trust are involved? To me, the one thing that the river, and even Jimmy Neal said it was a big river, the river itself has been for a lot of years a living, breathing thing. I mean, obviously, shipbuilding has declined in recent years, but you go back 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, the Vikings sailing up it, it's had a ton of history. Is there no mileage putting a museum there for, because if there's a place where people can go and see it, giving people a reason to be there, that would mean, well, there'd have to be security and a building and da-di-da-di-da. Is there no way a museum of some kind could be created there?
Well, I mean, there are lots of ideas in the mix, especially now that the Trust are coming on board with their expertise. One of the key things they want to do is help us to really make it financially sustainable, which means looking at facilities. It means looking at holding more events there, trying to increase its use, not just during the 2 or 3 days a week that it's available at the moment, but into the evenings, throughout the weekends, having a presence there in terms of staff on site. There's all sorts of things which are in the mix. Right. But it's an exciting time because they're really looking to raise the profile of the site, bring it into their portfolio, and look at what we can do. I mean, one of the suggestions was even, open it up to night anglers. The key problem they have is at night.
That's a great
restore
idea.
part of it and give access to people like that. So, there's a stack of ideas in the mix. I think from our point of view, from the Tyne and Wear Building Preservation Trust, who own the structure, it's been a challenge for us because they are small in number as a charity. We are a small group of volunteers, and it's a huge structure to try and maintain at great cost. And we need their expertise. We need that backing of the National Trust to take this project forward and to make it work for itself, if you like.
I could just
bring it to life.
I know the site, and if you were going to go there as a casual bystander, I'm not sure you'd get it necessarily. I'm not being negative about it, but you would see that, you'd say, yeah, ship's probably docked there. And then you'd walk away. But it's just, we need more things there. I think the fishing idea, if you're going to have a fishing thing there, have a shop selling fishing stuff, have part of a museum and the history of fishing in the northeast. It just needs to be bigger because the river deserves it. It deserves to have something, and pictures of the boats that were there, and because there's plenty of old photographs of Tyneside and North and South Shields and all of the places in between were launching classic ships, for heaven's sake. Blimey, there's got to be something that could be done there that would bring some money in for the National Trust, and if it's bringing money in, then you can look after the whole staiths better.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a large part of the structure which is not restored. So we've also been looking at what we can do with that. And as you say, there's loads of things that could be on which really promote what it's about, so that when you see it, you learn about it, you want to engage with it. I mean, for me, it's very photogenic, but for me, one of the things I most love is to be able to go up onto the structure when you've got a cracking sunset. I'm not so good at getting up for sunrises, but the only sunrise I've seen on there recently was after the fire when I was still there as the sun was rising. But the sunsets are spectacular, particularly at this time of year. It's about engaging that. I mean, we have, under normal circumstances, when we're not in lockdowns, during the months that it's open, we have a monthly food market. We even have in August now, for the last couple of years, we have a dog show, which is a huge amount of fun. In fact, Miss Rory, you're familiar with Miss Rory.
I am.
From Boulevard. He's very, very brilliantly hosted that for the last couple of years. So that's been a really good, fun event. So there's lots of things that we can do and develop. And as I said, we've had the constraints of being a small group with limited funds, and now we bring on the expertise of the trust. You make a suggestion and they may say, well, yeah, we've got a team who can do that. And all of a sudden it's opening all sorts of doors
Yeah,
for new ideas. So it's a really exciting time for us to really do something with it. And as you say, get some facilities there, get some, be it a shop, a coffee shop, and a bit more about the history, interactive stuff. We're even thinking, and this is a bit of blue sky thinking, if we can get a restored jetty on there, like the boats, the visitor boats that run down the river. We make a mooring point. People can come onto the structure as part of their tour. So there's all sorts of things in the mix. It's a case of doing some fundraising and applying for some grants and making some of this a reality.
And also finding out, I know the National Trust have a long reach. How great would it be if you could get some kind of restored old historical ship and have it on the site that people could come on to? Yeah, it's just how big is your imagination? That's how big this thing could be.
Yeah, exactly. We've got this big unrestored section. It'd be fantastic for power supply, for example, to get some solar panels along there, and get it earning some power as well as being sustainable in that respect too. All these suggestions come in, and we're sitting there thinking, I never thought of that. So there's a lot in the pipeline, but we've still got to do our share of fundraising as well, and that's where the hard graft kicks in for us as a group too.
Right. Hey, well, I just think you do it very, very well. It's again literally rising from the ashes, so to speak.
Well, yeah.
But it's one of those things that maybe that's the kickstart that you needed to get the right organisation on your side, and now off you go. So more power to you, man. Good luck to you. Thank you very much, Andy.
Cheers, Alan.
Keep on keeping on. Bless you. 0191 488 3188. Mark Robinson has sent me a picture of his mug. It is a Geet Big M. That's it. David Johnson doesn't like fake turf. David Birdsey said, if 2020 was a sex toy, this is what it would be. He's got a toilet roll holder, and he's put loads of pins through it, so it's really sharp inside. He said, if 2020 was a sex toy, this is what it would look like. I know exactly what you mean. Wayne, this is true of Great Britain today. It's not a racist sentiment, but a fact. Don't agree, that's your choice. A thought-provoking passage written by an Englishman about the current situation in his homeland. This is thought-provoking and equally relevant in any other white country. I have been wondering about why whites are racist, but no other race is. There's British Africans, British Chinese, British Asians, British Turks, etc., etc. And then you're just British. You know what I mean? Plain old English people that were born here. You can include the Welsh, the Scots, people who live off our shores in Great Britain. You say that whites commit a lot of violence against you, so why are the ghettos the most dangerous places to live? You've got the Muslim Council of Great Britain, you have Black History Month, you have swimming pools for Asian women, you have Islamic banks for Muslims only, you have the Year of the Dragon Day for Chinese people. If we had White Pride Day, you would call us racists. If we had White History Month, we'd be racists. If we had any organisation for whites to advance our lives, we'd be racist. A white woman can't be in Miss Black Britain or Miss Asia, but any colour can be. If we had a college fund that only gave white students scholarships, we'd all be racists. There's over 200 openly proclaimed Muslim schools in England. You see, you're mistaking religion with race here. It's a different thing altogether. Because you got to remember, Christians, if you're going to go race, Christians are black, white, green, blue. They're every colour under the sun. Anyway, you can fly your flag and it's called diversity. You can celebrate cultures and it's called multiculturalism. And Wayne the Parrot. I make no apologies for my thoughts and opinion as a person who served his country on 3 occasions. Disappointed the way things have turned out. Why is it that only whites can be racist? Well, they can't. People of colour can be racist too. Of course they can. It's just you got to be... I'm proud that I'm white, but I don't class... This isn't white anyway. It's kind of pink frickly. I'm proud to be ginger and pink and frickly. But why is it got to be them and us? And that's what you're making it. You're making it them and us. And if you served in the forces are us. You don't look at a soldier who might have grandparents who are African or Asian or whatever, you don't look at them and you say, oh, it's them. When you're in the forces, you say us. And I'm stunned you haven't learnt that, Wayne. 0191 488 3188. Nah, this whole white business, just it makes people think that white is the best. It's the great school because we're white. Yeah, like Hitler thought, you know? Yeah. Crazy. I've never understood that kind of thing. I understand his patriotism and all the rest, but you can't be a patriot to Britain when you realise that even the name of the country comes from the place that we all, you know, you say, wow, just plain old Britain. There's no such thing as plain old Britain. We're a bunch of mongrels. Even the word England comes from Anglo. The Angles, where England comes from, are from Central Europe. That's where we're from originally. We're not even from these shores. We're all mongrels. Get used to it, because that's how it is. Tracy says, I wonder if you can help my daughter's boyfriend. He's been attacking her. She has 3 small children. She's only just told us. We had to collect her and the kids on Thursday night. Her partner's parents were there making things worse and threatening everybody. The partner threw a plastic extension at me full force, hit me in the chest. I've now got a black and purple bruise. He also tried to pull my daughter down the stairs by her hair while she was holding the baby. The house they had now has his parents staying there for some reason. We're unable to get the keys to go and get things for the children. I rang the police for advice and was told to change the locks. Does anybody know if she'll be able to get emergency housing with the council, as it isn't safe for her to go back to the house? Yes, and if not, get into a refuge. Absolutely. And then they will help her find her way back into a place to stay. You don't put up with that crap. Ever. Not ever. Anyway, let's keep cracking on. A lot of people sending love to Sam and Rachel as well. There you go. To the last emailer about White Month. You've had white everything for over 1,000 years. We've had brown, black, yellow and all colours for just a few years. You are a racist. Thanks for all the coverage, and I hope the Night Owls are as enlightened as you are and the team. That's Omar sending that in. Cheers, Omar. Yeah, you know, it's just we have white everything. Not only that, as a country with the empire, we went across other people's countries, completely took everything of wealth that they had, and then thought we were helping them. Yeah, we'll take everything they've got. We're really going to be useful, which is why they tried to eventually kick us out of all of these places. So you just got to remember where we come from. You kind of go to a country, take it over and give them all British passports, and then are surprised they come and live in the country that you've told them they're part of. You kind of have it both ways. Viv, Alan, this is my look. It's called Boris. She's hiding her face, just in case she really looks like Boris. That would be scary. And Mark's got a question. It's really bugging him. If from the 16th of June it's going to be mandatory to wear face masks on public transport, how are people going to get face masks if they're currently available everywhere? There you go. Job centres start telling the unemployed to go back to their appointments. Are the government going to source and pay the expenses for face masks? Mark, what are you talking about? They're currently unavailable. The government said, save face masks for the people that really need them. You get a bit of denim, you put it over your mouth, you get a scarf, you get a balaclava. It's not rocket science to get a bit of cloth over your face. 0191 488 3188. We'll have one more, and then I think we have to have a tune. Darren's with us. He is in Eston. Hello, Darren. Hello, Darren.
Hey, you all right, Alan?
Yes, I'm
Hey,
good,
Alan.
mate. Hello. What can we do for you?
Well, I just want to sound off, mate, about what's happened to me at work and that.
Yeah, what's
Where I
happened?
used to work.
Uh-huh.
Well, I used to work in retail,
Right.
and I was bullied into doing something and making someone get the sack.
How were you bullied? I mean, physically?
No, like, he said, like, the section leader, which is, like, higher up than me,
Right.
he said to me, like, I had to do something, so this other person got the sack.
So you told a lie to help him get kicked out?
Well, I can't really, like, go into detail, like, what I done, because then,
Right.
obviously, but yeah,
Right.
I did something.
Mm. But presumably you did that because you thought you might get the boot if you didn't do what your boss told you to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I understand
and
that.
then when I told the big chief, he sort of like swept it under the carpet type of thing.
Presumably because he doesn't want to face confrontation either. And as a boss, you have to, really. You cannot just let people walk over you
but
like that.
This person got the sack because of me, and I felt bad in that.
Wow. Are you still there, or are you out of that place now?
No, I resigned in the end because I couldn't handle it no more. It was I suffer with blood pressure, and my blood pressure was going at sky high.
I bet.
My health wasn't getting very good. I was having fits. I was having more fits and that. So in the end,
No, you're best out of there, but it's just, Darren, you'll know yourself that if you were in there, if that guy was going to pull a stroke like that to get rid of somebody, how long is it going to be before he pulls a stroke to get shot at you? You are best out of there in the first place. So you're in a better place now? Have you found anywhere else?
No, I'm not working now, but like I was a key worker, like that's what, like, and I loved it. I've been there 13 years.
Jeepers.
No, I did everything. I dressed up for them.
Yeah.
Made people happy, you know what I mean, at work. And
hey, you'll be back. You'll be back, Darren, but you'll be when everybody else is back and the opportunities start opening up again, you'll be back. You can't be that good a worker for 13 years without sliding straight back into a job as soon as the opportunities begin to open again.
Just like, I can't believe how like people can get away with like bullying people and
horrible
going on in like workplaces and stuff.
No, it's absolutely horrible, and it's completely wrong, especially when he wasn't man enough himself to just go and sack the guy. He had to try and pull a weaselly kind of stroke to force him. Nah, that's not being a man at all. Hey, well done to you, Darren, though, for not putting up with it. Well done.
Yeah.
All right. Absolutely. He's got to do it. Thank you for calling. All the best, man.
All right, then. Cheers,
Take care. What a damn shame. Good people again. How about that? Oh, I've got a sneaky suspicion you deserve a batch of Michael Jackson, and then we might just blah. And for the rest of you guys that are watching this is the last bit. We're going to go into the blah. I hope that you retune and listen on your various devices. But if you're not, good night from me and the team. We're still on till 2 o'clock, and we've got the blah coming up, which is always funny. So I hope you'll join us for that. If not, night, and thanks for being with us tonight. Let's get cracking.